Good morning. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video on what happens when you start eating clean. And I'll go ahead and list the video up here and down in the description box. You can check it out if you want. What happened with that video is that so many of you asked me, what exactly do you eat in a day? That's what we're doing today. So now I'm starting with my morning coffee, which I do every morning. And you know what? I should probably show you what kind of coffee I drink. Hang on just a minute. I'm gonna drink between 2 and 2.5 cups of coffee this morning, which I do every morning. I'm pretty predictable. And I am drinking cast brew coffee right now. I really like this. This is the Appalachian Nights. If you like coffee, you might like this one. And in my coffee, I use Nut Pods Creamer. And you can see this is the French vanilla flavor. I've tried them all. There's so many. There's like, I don't know, caramel and cookie butter and marshmallow and all these different flavors. This is my favorite, French vanilla. This is actually a coconut creamer, so there's no sugar in here. It does have a little bit of flavoring. This is what I use as my creamer. And then for my sweetener in my coffee, I use this Sweet Leaf. This is their organic stevia sweetener, and this is the powder. You can see it right in here. I use a drops formula from Sweet Leaf for my sun tea, but for some reason in my coffee, this just seems to work better. So that's what I have in the morning. I'm on my first cup of coffee right now. I'm gonna go do my red light for 10 minutes and then drink a little more coffee, do a little bit of work. And I will be back in a little bit with what I have before I go to the gym. If you're new here, welcome in. I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything beauty, fitness, and lifestyle for the over 50 and over 60 woman. I'm so glad that you popped in for this one. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave and make sure you click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And if you want all the good stuff, you might want to sign up for my Sunday morning email newsletter. Comes out Sunday morning. Big secret there. The link is in the description box down below. Every Sunday morning, I send out a very short, very sweet, very useful email newsletter featuring all the cool things I found throughout the week. It could be a great sale, a good buy, some good piece of information, a fabulous recipe, whatever it is that I find that I think I would want to share with you if we were out together having lunch. That's what goes in the Sunday morning email newsletter. It's super easy to sign up, super free, super fun. I think you're going to love it. Well, I've had my morning coffee and done a ton of work. And now it's about mid-morning. I think it's about, let's see, it's 10 o'clock and I'm getting ready to head over to the gym. I usually don't eat until 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So in the morning, I'll just have my coffee. And right now, before I go to the gym, I always have at least a half a glass of electrolytes, and then I take the rest of it with me to the gym and probably make a little bit more. And along with my electrolytes, I have my perfect aminos. Now, I haven't talked much about the perfect aminos on my channel because they're kind of spendy. They're kind of spendy and they're extra. However, I do love them. I do use them every single day, and they really do help with muscle development and uptake of protein. So they're a big part of my nutrition routine. I have a discount code. It'll be linked in the description box down below if you want to check it out. Again, this is kind of an extra thing. I have found that it's worth it. I really do like them. So that's the perfect aminos. In the morning before the gym, I take 10 of these, and then when I come back from the gym, I'm going to take another 5. Now on the days that I don't do a workout, I don't take the second 5. But if I've gone and weight trained, or if I've gone for a walk, then I'll come back and take the extra 5. It just boosts that production of muscle. In addition, what I can tell you, and this was kind of a magical thing that I discovered with the perfect aminos, this is if you're weight training heavy. When I take the perfect aminos, I'm not sore, which is so weird for me because I have weight trained throughout my life, and by golly, the soreness can really be a thing. You know, that kind of when you've done your butt really hard and then you have to lower yourself down on the toilet the next day. That doesn't happen when I take these. So if you get a lot of muscle soreness, you might want to look into this. I'm not saying you have to do it, you certainly don't, but it really has been an aid for me. Now, as far as my electrolytes, I get electrolytes that are 0 calorie and sugar free. There are 2 brands that I have used. The one that I primarily use is this one called Ultima. Currently, I'm drinking the orange flavor. They also have a lemonade flavor, lemon flavor. They have different flavors. peppers, and you can get these right off of Amazon. I'll have them linked down below. These are the ones that I end up using the most often. Now, I also have used Element. These taste better. Not that the Ultimate doesn't taste good. It does taste good. This just is a little bit more of a flavor wow because it's a sweet, salty thing. Here's the issue that I find with the Element. If I get too much of this in my system, it really upsets my digestive system in not a good way. Like, surprises can happen. So I use this very sparingly, and I'll probably maybe use half a packet of these in a big glass of water a couple of times a week. So a little light on this for me, but with the Ultima, this is what I use on a daily basis, and this is what I travel with. They also sell these in little packets, so they're easy to travel with. So I will have a half a glass at least of my electrolytes and my perfect aminos, and I'll probably take my Lion's Mane and my C60 as well before I go to the gym this morning. And then I'll come back, clean up, do a few things, and about 1 o'clock, I'll meet you back here for lunch. I'm back. It's cold today and it's raining, so I came home and put my cozies on, ran a few errands, but here we are. It's time for lunch, and lunch for me quite often is a steak. And that's what it's gonna be today. This is a ribeye steak. I'm going to pan fry this up with a little dish of melted butter to dip it in. And then I'm gonna make just a little salad out of my garden. This is some tomatoes I grew. So I'm gonna toss this with olive oil and vinegar and a little salt and pepper. One thing I can say, and you probably already know this, but I'll say it anyway, salad dressings that you get in the store, oh, they're terrible for you because they're filled with seed oils. Look on the back, and most of them are like safflower oil or canola oil or something. Those seed oils are horrible for you. They're so inflammatory. They will put 10 pounds of inflammation on you in no time. So I don't get my dressings from the grocery store, and I never really have. I've always made my own. So I'm gonna make just a little salad out of these tomatoes and, salt and pepper on my steak, and I'm gonna dip it in butter, and that's it. When I did my video on healthy eating, so many of you asked where I get my grass-fed, grass-finished meat. And I've actually been buying it for, gosh, way back when I was living up in the Lake Tahoe area. I have used a number of companies. I have liked them all. Currently, most of the meat that I'm buying, I get a monthly box from them, is from a company called Moink, M-O-I-N-K. I've also gotten really nice chicken and beef and pork from a company called Cook's Venture. I'm not sure they're still in business though, because when you go onto their website, they don't have any products for sale. I emailed them. I also tagged them on Instagram. I haven't heard back. The other company that I really like is a company called Wild Pastures. And once you start visiting these companies, they're going to cookie you, and you're going to get lots of different companies come up in your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed, hunting you down and wanting your business. Thank you. The algorithm for social media where you can't do anything privately anymore. So most of the meat that I have right now is from Moink. I have a ton of beef in my refrigerator pretty much all the time. So this is one of my steak boxes. I generally will get a ribeye or a filet mignon. This one is a top sirloin. So that's my steaks. And then I also get ground beef, I'll get ground sausage, and I get my bacon. So someone had asked me a while ago, bacon is healthy? Well, bacon, when it's uncured, doesn't have the nitrates and all that stuff in it. I really love this bacon. So that's where I've been buying my meat slightly. There are a lot more companies coming online now selling grass-fed, grass-finished beef because it's so popular. Once you get in that loop, you'll start seeing them all around. They'll come up on your Facebook feed if you go to Facebook, on your Instagram page if you go to Instagram, or you can just Google, local beef. Because I live in a state, Florida, that raises a lot of cattle, we can get locally processed beef. I haven't done that yet because generally you need to buy a half to a quarter of a cow, and I don't have room in my freezer for all that meat. Lori and I had actually talked about going in together. The conversation hasn't gone anywhere. We might do that in the future. If you do buy locally processed meat, it's going to be a lot less expensive. One thing I can tell you about my food bill and my food waste, two things. My food bill is a lot lower than it used to be because I don't buy a lot of stuff. I pretty much just buy my meat, and then I buy some fruit at the store and just a few other other things. Also, I don't have any waste because you know that obligatory vegetables that you buy and it sits in your freezer and it sits in your refrigerator and then you throw it away 10 days later. I don't have any of that. I don't buy packaged foods. Like if it comes in a box, it's not going to be in my house. The only time I'll buy something packaged is if I'm getting like stewed tomatoes or tomato paste, and in those instances I always buy organic, and I try to buy from Italy because Italy does not allow the type of poisons in their food that are allowed in the US. Food in Italy is much cleaner, much better for you than the food in the US. So buying foods from Italy is a good choice, at least for me, because I know I'm getting a lot cleaner food. So I'm gonna go ahead and fry up my steak, put together my little salad, and have my lunch. I will see you back here for dinner. Well, hey there. It's almost dinner time. And yes, I have spent the entire day in my sweats. It's still raining. I'm going to talk about a few things about how I eat before I show you what I'm eating for dinner. Kind of my final meal of the day, and I forgot something in the freezer. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. I have changed my eating habits a lot since working with Connie Rutledge. She's the functional nutritionist that I work with. I'll have her linked in the description box down below. She has taught me so much, and I have developed this eating pattern that is very different than what I used to do. Not only have I changed what I eat, but I have changed how I eat. And what I mean by that is I usually don't eat until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes later. If I can go later, I will, because that longer fasting window is going to help me become fat adapted and burn fat and build more lean muscle. So 1 o'clock is generally the earliest I'll eat. In addition, I do not snack at all. I mean, at all. The fact is that the minute you put something in your mouth, you kick up insulin, and that insulin is really going to contribute to extra fat on your body. One thing Connie taught me is that when you sit down to eat, you eat and then you close that feeding window and you don't eat again until you sit down to eat. So any kind of like little nibbling or chips or goodies or that sort of thing, I just don't do that anymore. I don't eat unless I'm sitting down to eat. I hope that makes sense. What I do is I do drink a lot of water throughout the day, and my water is in a form of a very, very weak sun tea. And what I have found is that I am a little bit lazy. I like things to be really, really efficient. So the process that I have made for making my sun tea really works for me. What I'll do is I'll take 4 of my mason jars and I will put a small amount of water in it, and then I'll put a small amount of tea bags. I use all herbal teas. This is a peppermint and dandelion blend that's good for detoxing, and I'll make like 4 or 5 of these, and then I'll keep them in the refrigerator, so that keeps me going on tea for 4 or 5 days. And then I'll add this into this pitcher, and then add the rest of the water that I've structured into the pitcher, and then this is what I drink throughout the day. I will often keep this on the counter just because it seems easier for me to drink room temperature liquids than really cold liquids. In other words, I drink a lot more of it. So I'm walking around with this glass all day long, refilling it all day long, and I really do try to get through this pitcher in the day. In addition, this is also from Sweet Leaf, the same company that makes the sweetener I like for my coffee. But for some reason, I like the liquid drops. This is vanilla cream in my tea. So I'll put a few drops of this sweetener in the cup before I add the tea, and that's what I drink throughout the day. The other thing that I wanted to show you is a handy little quick meal that I keep in the freezer most of the time, and that is keto meatballs. I know you can't see them very well. Let me pull one out. I will make a large batch of meatballs. I cook them in the oven, and then I freeze them on a cookie sheet, and then when they're frozen, I put them together in this bag. And what I like about this is that if I don't feel like cooking, or if I'm in a rush, or if I didn't take a steak out, I can cook up 5 or 6 of these, and that's a great meal. I use almond flour instead of regular flour or any kind of other thickener item. So it's a nice keto meal, and it's really, really quick. And I pan fry fry them just straight out of the freezer, and it thaws them out and also makes the exterior a little crispy. So it's a nice little taste treat. So this is a couple of things I wanted to share with you about how I eat right now. Now I want to show you what I'm going to eat for dinner, and I have to be honest and say this is the dicey time of the day for me, because I could very, very easily not eat anything at all. I had that huge ribeye for lunch. Did I eat the whole thing? I sure did. And I'm not really that hungry. I'm not, but I know I need to keep the protein intake up. And so what I'm having tonight is I'm having just a little bowl of chicken soup. This is homemade chicken soup, and this batch is kind of a Mexican flavor. I have in Mexican spices. I added in some green chilies. I added in some Mexican flavored organic diced tomatoes, you know, with chilies and that sort of thing in it, and it's really, really delicious and very filling. The broth that I make for my chicken soup is I'll take a full chicken that I've eaten the legs off and the thigh area, and I'll take all the meat off that chicken carcass and add that carcass into some organic chicken broth. So I'm getting extra nutrients and extra protein in that broth, and then I'll just add whatever flavoring I want, whether it's a Mexican blend or whether it's just a traditional chicken soup blend, whatever I'm in the mood for, that's what I'll make. And it makes a big pot so I can have it for a couple of days and then freeze the rest, and then I have quick meals after that. Now I know some of you are going to ask me for the recipe. My brain doesn't work that way. I just throw things together, whatever sounds good, and that's how I do my recipes. So just be creative. You'll do a great job. I know you will. So I'm going to have this little bowl of soup, and for my dessert this evening I have almost the same thing every single evening. I have a bowl of berries. Oh, and let me show you what I put on top of this. I'll be right back. So every evening I have my bowl of berries, and I put Cocoa Whip on top of it. If you haven't tried this Cocoa Whip, you can generally find it in most grocery stores, at least around here. This is lovely. It is a dairy-free whipped topping. I really, really like the flavor. So I'll put a little of the Cocoa Whip on top of the berries, and that's how I'll finish out my eating for the day. So that's it, you guys. You can see that I don't really eat often. When I do eat, it's very, very protein-centric. I throw in a little carbs throughout the day, and of course my berries give me carbs and fiber at the end of the day. And I really, really love the way I eat now. I don't get hungry at all. My blood sugar is really even. My weight keeps dropping. So I'm very, very happy with it. Anywho, I hope you found this fun, useful, and helpful. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You saw me in my casual sweats around the house day. This is real life in my world. I hope this was fun for you. Again, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything beauty, fitness, and lifestyle for the over 50 woman. You know, it just makes my day when you take a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. Make it a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.